Okay, we are, it looks like we're live. I'm just going to check one more thing. It's been a while since I've done what I call a Zoom tube. Hang on a moment. Let me just check see if we're actually, although, okay, it's not going to show here. Okay. I'm just going to go with it and we'll see what happens here. So welcome, happy Capricorn new moon. Actually, the minute we started, it was 11:11 on the nose. So really cool divine doorway portal vibes here today. And I wanted to come on here and really expand my reach and connect with those of you. I want to, just say how grateful I am. I can't believe in the past few days, I've just been posting a couple of shorts, and I think a total so far is over 153 views, which I'm so grateful for. So I want to, first of all and foremost, say thank you for tuning in. And I also want to let you know a couple of logistics. I'm not the most tech savvy in the world, and somehow I ended up starting this new YouTube channel without realizing I was doing so. So my main channel, Ride, Pray, Love, you will find in the description box of all my videos. If you want to binge on the medicine of the horse, connecting with source, the sun, the moon, the stars, and just high vibe, really mindset shifts and timeless trainings to help you lift and shift your vibes, seek and see and open up to a higher potential, a higher truth, a higher possibility. That is what I'm all about, and sprinkling it all, infusing it all with the magical medicine of the horse, as I call it. So today, just to jump in, I want to let you know what I'm going to be chatting about today. I was guided to hop on here and share my 5-step personal process for emotional freedom, for creating, experiencing, and enjoying emotional freedom at the next level. This is my personal emotional freedom formula, if you will. And before I reveal that, I want to take a moment to just share with you, in case you're new to me, who I am and why you might want to listen. So my name is Helena Das. I have been a trailblazing, soul-led equinepreneur since 1999. The first couple of decades, I was what you might call a renegade holistic vet, a one-woman solo mobile practice, where I have a rich background in the healing arts, working with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, I'm just never counted, of horses and their humans, specializing in equine wellness and performance. Then I ended up in 2007 going on my unbridled soul journey. It was a dark night of the soul, really, which was almost like a spiritual awakening and initiation after I lost my first horse 3 months after losing my mom. So that was in 2007. And actually, let's see if we can get him in there. That's him up there. And so that was, needless to say, a very dark time, indeed. And it came on top of, it was the perfect storm. Before that, I was experiencing burnout and chronic fatigue and anxiety and depression, and been going to all these doctors and struggling with a lot of health issues. And while doing things like acupuncture and herbs and exploring both natural and allopathic therapies, kind of helped a little bit. The real shift, the real secret sauce, if you will, that helped me finally start coming back home to myself and heal and be able to start not only experiencing the emotional freedom and the shifting and the raising of my vibration, which allowed me to heal my physical body, and we'll get into more of that in a moment, but um, was the secret sauce to helping me do that. There are a couple of pieces, but the most sacred part was what I call, or is, because I'm a work in progress. I continue evolving and, just raising my vibes and always seeking to elevate to my next level. And that is what I call the medicine of the horse. Um, I feel called to take a moment to just share like a brief story, if you will, around that time where I was so tired, so much anxiety, so much depression, extreme grief. My depression was at points suicidal. And again, I had done everything from talk therapy to tantra, ayahuasca to acupuncture and more. Invested thousands and thousands of dollars and energy and time and resources and hopes, to really heal and feel better. And at the end of the day, again, what brought me back home to myself was what I call the sacred medicine of the horse, and the key pieces that I'm going to share in my emotional freedom formula, which they helped me, guided me, taught me to kind of put together and integrate. So the little story piece that I want to share here is taking you back to a time where I was so exhausted, so depressed, I barely had enough energy or motivation or inspiration or whatever you want to call it. I really had no sense of purpose, or, had lost really a lot of meaning to my life when I started to get when I was really sick, and then when I lost my mom and my first horse, as I said, I was in a dark place. And there was this one day, and I typically at that time, like a typical day or weeks and weeks at a time, would be like going outside, throwing hay or feed to the animals, letting the dogs out, and then crawling back into bed. And I spent a lot of time horizontal and in the bed. And what I want to say is there was this one day where I somehow mustered up enough energy, and managed to get outside and literally crawl onto the back of my horse mare, Hannah, who I had at the time, my soul sister, Hannah Bear, as I used to call her, a redheaded Arabian mare. I managed to climb onto her back. I didn't have a saddle or anything. I think I had perhaps at least a lead line, but halter and lead line, but I crawled onto her back and I just sat up on her back. And for the first time that I could ever remember, if ever, I felt this sense of peace. I felt this connectedness to source and my soul and the birds and the trees and the bees and Mother Earth. And I just was in this place of being in that peaceful present moment. And it was so magical. Like I wasn't hurting in that moment, and I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel depressed. I felt almost the peace and almost like this sense of pure bliss. And it's only what I could describe as kind of bringing heaven to earth, as I was sitting on her back, which I often describe now as grounding my soul. And in that moment, I really desired to like bottle up that feeling for myself, because obviously I couldn't hang out on my horse 24/7, right? And as I started to explore ways to do that and expand my awareness around, the energy and my body connection and all these things, I, of course, wanted to share that with other women. And so going back to my story, it was in 2016 that I officially began, because I had made so much progress in my own healing journey of starting to feel better and heal and have more energy and passion and purpose. And really, hope and meaning in my life. And, the physically, all of those things started to come together at the same time. I also started to uncover some of my natural intuitive healing abilities and gifts. And so as I did that, I knew the shifts that I had were so powerful that I had to share it with other women. And so the other piece that I forgot to mention, through getting onto my mare Hannah's back, I was able to start getting out there as often as possible, even if it was only like 5 minutes a day to start, right, in the beginning. And as I did that, I began noticing that I was also channeling these light codes and downloads. And over time, I was given a body of work that I now call Epona Rises, which is the awakening of your inner horse goddess. I did a whole course on that, and I have a home study on that. If you're interested, let me know. But where literally I take you on what I call, or I was told to call, the goddess ascension pyramid or path, right? The path, the way of the horse goddess to essentially, heal and feel better and set yourself free from the past. And so that was so beautiful. And I ended up at that time in 2016. First, it was just the sacred feminine and the Venus codes, and then Venus meets Equus, and it's evolved over time. And I don't want to spend a ton more time here chatting about my story, but I also want you to know like where I'm coming from. And so anyway, since 2016, I've been helping women all over the world rise to their full potential, get their sacred, sexy sparkle back in their bodies, in their, businesses and or work, if, depending as it applies, their career, their soul's work or soul purpose work, their relationships, abundance blocks, and beyond. And what I want to say is I just feel so blessed to have witnessed. I have tons of testimonials, and I'm not going to go into those now either, of women having very deep and profound healing, spontaneous healing, sometimes in their physical body, and also having their reality shift where their health, their body, their business, their bank account, whatever the case might be, was magically taken to the next level as we did this inner work and this energy work in partnership with the medicine of the horse, as I call it, because I essentially channel their energy. I channel sort of embodied horse medicine, if you will. And when women are exposed to this work, they are able to heal, they're able to ground, they're able to come back home to themselves and start connecting and reconnecting with their soul, with their body, and so much more, their feminine wisdom and beyond. And that ripple effect has allowed for the type of results that I have been blessed to witness in the women I've worked with, as well as in my own life. Like, just to share a couple of pieces, and then we'll dive into the 5-step emotional freedom formula. But I went from, there was a period where I was literally, again, the fatigue, the anxiety, the depression, right, was so, bad. And I'm not joking, like when I say this, and I struggled with that for probably around a decade. And the fact that I now at 59 years young, fast forward, am enjoying a level of health and vitality is truly a miracle. And right, we can't experience true wealth without having our health first, right? And so that's the first miracle that I have experienced and that I'm so grateful for. On top of that, in partnership with the medicine of the horse, it's also assisted me in manifesting, in the manifesting arena, because what I discovered is that the energetic alignment and healing process that I practice and take my clients through is also very similar to the manifesting process. And if you think about it, our physical body is literally, form, manifestation of our energy, right? Our thoughts, our feelings, our energy, of our vibration, right? And so I have been able to manifest my dream horse come true, Indigo, who is a Black Arabian gelding, and more on him in the future, another time, another conversation. Manifested living on this beautiful horse farm property with my partner, and, you know, trails right out the back gate. Manifested most recently my new Tacoma. I was previously driving a beat up 2001 Toyota 4Runner. So, I mean, all of these manifestation pieces and others, miraculous manifestation in so many different ways, too many to count, but because again, applying these principles, and again, my clients as well have been able to clear their abundance blocks and manifest, like one client doing the Epona Rises program manifested 2 new horses. A couple of the women in that program also were struggling with anxiety and depression, and were able to, after our 5 weeks together, really take back the reins and learn how to have that emotional agility to shift their energy and their vibration. Another woman lost 10 pounds and attracted new love and started up her healing practice. So these are just a few small handful of examples of the kind of results that women are experiencing with this work. Okay, in addition to my own progress and personal fulfillment, really, I want to say personal fulfillment and this freedom piece, which is one of my core values around, first and foremost, feeling emotionally free. But then, of course, there's time and energy and money and all the things, right? And yes, I am a work in progress and there's always a new level. But I do know the one thing I can say for sure is the better it gets, the better it gets. And so, without further ado, I want to reveal to you this 5-step freedom process, this freedom formula, to really go from maybe being in a funk, right, to again experiencing the emotional freedom, to go from perhaps feeling anxious or depressed or overwhelmed or frustrated, right, to again just shifting and lifting and raising your vibes and feeling better. That is the intention. Everyone's situation is going to be different depending on how much work you've done on yourself, depending on how aware you are in terms of your mind-body connection, all the things, right? Everyone's going to be at a different place, but the idea here, the intention here is that wherever you are, you get to feel better, okay? And as you've learned to flex and build this new muscle, right, the better it gets, right? You are able to navigate life with more ease and grace. And in the times we are in, right, with such accelerated change, and so many people, and myself included, I'm not immune, are experiencing feelings of like uncertainty and fear and instability and all of those pieces. And yet, for me, I know that even compared to just a few years ago, the way that I'm navigating all of this is with so much more ease and grace than I would have even thought possible for myself. And so this is why I know this information needs to get into the hands of more people, especially women who are sensitive, who are empathic. And I want to say, for those of you who perhaps like me have also experienced trauma, whether it's in your upbringing, whether it's grief or loss, whether it's heartache or even physical injury, right? When the body experiences trauma, it remembers, right? The body keeps score. There's a book called The Body Keeps Score, and our body remembers past traumatic and stressful events. And one of my superpowers that I have learned to develop over the years, as a result of not only working with hundreds and hundreds of horses in my, as a renegade vet in the past, but then fast forward with the countless women I've worked with all over the world, is my ability to not only channel these incredible high frequency energies and light codes, which also includes the collective spirit of the horse, but I am really, really gifted at identifying energetic blocks. And what do I mean by that? I call them bliss blocks, and they essentially are created from some sort of past traumatic event or stressful situation, right? Where we didn't either have the awareness, the tools, the know-how, the support to actually integrate that experience. And when we don't know how to do that, right? And it's not your fault. Like if, we don't know until we know, right? But when we don't, what happens is the energy, the emotions, right, of either anxiety or fear or whatever, shock or whatever emotions happened associated with the event or events. It can be a series of events or a stressful time, right? Again, the body keeps score. The body, like these emotions, if you don't know how to move this energy and, create the emotional freedom and navigate again these energies with more ease and grace, what happens is they get stuck. Okay, they crystallize, they create pain bodies, and the emotions become frozen. And literally, it's like trapped traumas that are living in your body. And so it is so important to clear these energies, and it's like unkinking the hose, right? And just a couple of signs for you to know, because this is an important disclaimer that I want to share before I go into my 5-step process, is if you are someone who has done work and maybe, a lot of work on yourself, and maybe you feel like you have repetitive patterns or mental loops that you can't seem to really like break free from. Maybe you feel like something is holding you back, or if you feel stuck, or you just can't seem to like break through your, particular ceiling around, again, this applies to anywhere, health, wealth, and beyond. Okay. Whatever the case may be, the energetics are the same. Energy is energy. Okay. And so if you are experiencing this sense, this feeling of feeling stuck, this feeling of an invisible force field that is holding you back, and no matter what you do, you can't seem to move forward. And I've been there. Like, I share this because I've been there. This is from personal experience, right? Or maybe you take a couple steps forward and then it's like a couple or more back, right? That saying, right, where you put your one foot on the pedal and then the other on the gas. And this is because there's a part of our body, again, that remembers those traumas, right? Our nervous system, our body, our inner dragons or demons or whatever you want to call it, right, is just trying to keep us safe, right? And when we can remember that and start to have compassion and kindness for ourselves, and then learn how to move and play with and weave and alchemize these energies, that's when the magic happens. And that's why I'm so passionate about this work. And so, the reason I'm bringing this up is the formula, the 5-step freedom formula that I'm going to share with you. While it is absolutely powerful and I use it myself on a regular basis, and it's what I guide my clients through, if you do have some sort of unresolved, unintegrated past, traumatic event, heartbreak, loss, grief, etc., and that has not been integrated, this may not be enough, right? Like if you did it over time, over and over and over again, yes, it will help, and it will slowly help you shed the layers. But if something has been trapped and frozen and stuck in your system, in your body, in your energy for years, right? you're going to need something a little bit more aggressive. And I call this energetic acupuncture or energetic surgery, which is, again, one of my superpowers. And I know that the fact that I practice acupuncture for 2 decades really got me attuned at the time to like energy, right? And then I went on to study different energy healing modalities and all of that put together. Again, one of my superpowers is being able to powerfully move, identify, clear energy with my spirit team and help clear those energetic blocks, those trapped traumas, those bliss blocks, as I call them, so that you can restore the flow, the balance, the harmony of the energy, of the chi, and heal. Okay. Yeah. And because I am so gifted in this arena, I also want to share that some of the feedback I've gotten over the years from clients is that just by being in my presence, literally, I'm activating them to their truth, to their higher potential, to their higher potency. Okay. So I'm an activator. I've been told that my energy is contagious. So, and I recently learned, which was so cool in human design, if you're into it, I'm a 3-5 manifesting generator. And I learned that my profile means that I'm actually a frequency leader. So like that really, really fit and resonated. So I've been calling myself a frequency queen lately, and a dragon queen because we've got the Chinese New Year coming up with the Year of the Dragon, and that's my Chinese zodiac. Anyway, which I'm really excited about, by the way. And if you are into dragon vibes and really wanting to maintain and raise your vibration on a consistent basis, stick around to the end because I'm going to be sharing a couple of ways that you can go deeper with me in this work. And again, that piece that I wanted to share around the trapped traumas, where what I'm going to share today, while it can help, it may not be enough depending on where you're at on the journey. Okay, that's my little disclaimer. So let me take a sip of water, and then we are going to dive into my 5-step emotional freedom formula. And so the first step is really to exhale and allow yourself to relax and receive the information, expanding your awareness around not only what is going on in your environment and your 3D reality, but even more so importantly, within. So connecting with your body and doing a body scan, noticing your breath, observing without judging your emotions, your vibration, and even the thoughts and messages and self-talk that might be going on in any given moment. That first step is the expanding your awareness. And when you exhale and breathe and slow down, you get to gather all that information and simply observe. Okay, that is the first step. The second one is to partner with, and they're all connected, obviously, but for teaching purposes, okay, the second step is to partner with your body, your breath, and if you like, the medicine of the horse. So this means, again, building on the first step, we are allowing ourselves to step into this place and the power of presence, right? And cultivating that relationship with our body and its messages. The body is, for me, like a divination tool, and literally you can unlock those energetic blocks or bliss blocks I was talking about earlier when we connect to the body, when you know how to work with the energies, right? But the body is always giving you clues because it's kept score, right? And it's also your nervous system, and your breath is also a very powerful, powerful tool to, even noticing like your breath. Are you holding your breath? Are you breathing shallow or full and relaxed? What is your in-breath compared to your out-breath? All of these pieces can be such important, powerful information, okay? And then the medicine of the horse here, I bring that in because the way that I work when I guide people, clients, the people I work with, or whether it's in a training or, a group program or whatever, I am always channeling their medicine, their spirit, inside of the process. And so they often love to come in and help amplify the grounding and the power of presence. Okay. You can, if you have horses, you can, or just getting outside and being in nature, you can do this outside in a quiet place and your results will be even stronger. Okay. The third step is to really own your vibes, right? Remembering that you have free will, that you are the conscious creator, and you get to own your vibes, right? So you are, up until this point, you're noticing and observing, right? So you own this and you take full responsibility and you know that you are creating all of that. Now we also get to open up to something higher, a higher potential, a higher perspective, a higher truth or potency, right? And when we can shift our perspective, we know that miracle is a shift in perspective. We therefore can start to open up to a greater possibility, right? And so that is the third step. The fourth step is the nourishment and the neutralization. So what do I mean by this? Nourishing. We want to nourish and focus on and feed the energies of the higher perspective, of the higher truth. So for example, if you're noticing yourself, having some, negative self-talk as a simple example, right? But can you in that previous step, we're observing that, right? But we want to tap into and open up to a higher truth. Can you tap into a higher truth and perhaps find a more loving way, compassionate way to talk to yourself, right? Can you simply acknowledge whatever, negative self-talk is coming in and then say, yes, and like, I hear you, and we're not going to let that define us, determine our reality or our results. And this is where we are nourishing the higher potential, right? And then neutralize, there's two parts to this. I mean, all of these, I think I have two parts, but so we nourish the higher potential and we neutralize anything that is of a lower vibe or a heavier vibration, right? So if we're noticing that negative self-talk, to stick with that example, we can maybe rewrite or reframe the narrative, right? That's one example. We can get our journal out and maybe, switch and write the thought that we're having and choose something again that is more helpful, more empowering, right? If we are having an emotion that feels heavy, such as say, maybe we feel sad or we're in a funk, right? Well, we can, and every situation again is going to be different, right? You're going to have to practice your own discernment and feel into what feels the most aligned and true and expansive for you in any given time or situation. But maybe you need to go have a cry. Maybe you need to hit the yoga mat. Maybe you need to go for a walk. Maybe you need to put some tunes on and just dance. Whatever that is for you, can you do something? Can you choose something, an activity, to really shift your energy and neutralize the energies that you perhaps are viewing as heavier, right? Like a place that you don't want to hang out. And I want to be 100% clear here that I am not advocating or supporting doing a spiritual bypass. Like, you need to feel your feelings to heal. And if you've done work around a certain thing, you also get to choose that higher truth, right? So there's a both and, right? You get to feel your feelings, you get to have your cry, you get to ride your rage, whatever the case may be, right? And we go into all of this deeper in the work that I do, and I'm going to share a little bit again about a couple of opportunities that you can work with me. But that deeper work, the more like kind of the almost even the shadow work, right? Those energies really are not meant to live in the shadows, because the more we suppress them and ignore them and numb ourselves out, right, what we resist persists. And having a healthy way, a simple way, a highly effective way, which is what I practice and teach, right, to move and navigate those energies, to dance with those vibes, is the secret, right, so that it doesn't get stuck. That is the piece. You want to feel better and it doesn't get stuck. But you also do not want to do any kind of spiritual bypass where you are depending on something, externally to make yourself feel better, if that makes sense, right? We don't want to numb ourselves out with, drink or food or Netflix or anxiety meds or whatever the case may be. Okay. So that is what I mean by neutralize. I, that was the best word I could come up with for this step. And as you'll see, there's also an acronym here for you to remember. So the last and final step is, again, twofold. And the first piece is the alchemy, or alchemize and rise, right? Alchemize any residual energy, anything that's showing up as, fear, resistance, excuse me, any of this, residual, like heavier energy, right? Like say you did decide to journal, or maybe do some stretch on your yoga mat or whatever it is, or go for a walk, but there's still, and that shifted some, but there's still some residual, right? So you want to be noticing and tracking yourself, tracking your progress, celebrating your wins and your shifts, but also if there's something else there, again, you want to notice that, and you still get to alchemize that, or say you do this process, and like a couple hours later, that voice, that inner mean girl shows up again, right? And so you get to choose to alchemize that. And there's a number of ways. I mean, if there's that voice that's coming, like one little tip or trick that you can do, is to just say, delete, I delete that, or I hear you and we're choosing, this instead, right? So you get to alchemize that. And there are other ways, again, that I teach, but the idea here is to really transform any residual energy that you don't want to hang out in. Even let's also want to, I feel like called to talk about anxiety and fear, because I dealt with that like big time, and I can still slip into anxiety or a little panic, but not to the level that I did in the past. And also I can shift out of it much more quickly because of these tools, right? And so the anxiety and the fear piece, like if something is still showing up, okay, again, this is this last step here, you get to dig a little deeper, right? Can you maybe friend your fear? If you're still angry or frustrated, can you alchemize that anger? And this is where having specific tools, I use a combination, a very unique combination of somatic awareness, guided breath work, and then activations, again, with the medicine of the horse to do this work. But can you find a way to really alchemize that energy and turn that shiz, right, into gold? And again, depending on, where you're at, like if it's a mental thing, maybe you need to journal and dig a little deeper and discover like what you're making a particular thing mean about you, right? And then can you journal and shift into a higher truth and rewrite the story, right? Reinvent your narrative in a way that's more empowered and helpful. Okay. And again, a higher truth and potential. So that's the first piece. And then the last piece is aligned action. And this is, again, applies to whatever, you're doing here. The aligned action may be to journal. The aligned action may be to do some a guided process, meditation, breath work, whatever the case may be, is to literally, implement and do something to shift those energies, right? And so the quick recap of this 5 step emotional freedom formula is, and by the way, in case you weren't, I don't know if you caught it or not, but the acronym that I used to teach and remember this is EPONA, and that is named after the Celtic horse goddess that is one of my sacred guides and who helped me to channel the Epona Rises foundational work of awakening your inner horse goddess that I mentioned earlier. And so Epona, E, exhale and expand your awareness. P, partner with your body, with your breath, and the medicine of the horse. O, own your vibes and open up to a higher potential. N, nourish and neutralize, as the case may be, like we discussed. And the last one is alchemize and rise, and also the aligned, inspired action. Okay, so that's the 5-step Epona process to really shifting your vibes and going, as an example that I shared, from funk to freedom, and really learning how to flex this muscle using your free will and your awareness, right? To choose something better, to choose something that helps you feel better and create a different reality, right? It's almost like learning how to master the art of emotional agility and raising and shifting your vibes, like swiftly shifting your vibes. Over time, you get really good at it and you can do this quickly. And again, I'm not saying that there aren't times that you have to let yourself have a good cry or, beat the pillows or ride your rage, okay? Part of life is going through all of these experiences, and all of the emotions are really the rainbow of emotions is the full spectrum. And one piece that I do want to mention is not to judge yourself, because that piece and that one, is one I really used to struggle with. Don't judge yourself for feeling feeling the feelings, right? If it's a feeling like rage or anger or resentment, right? And I used to do this. I used to judge myself as like being a bad person or doing something wrong for having those feelings. And I'm here to say you're human and you get to have those feelings and it's okay. But it's like what you do with it is what really is going to determine what you're doing with your vibration and how you are ultimately co-creating your reality. I hope that makes sense. But the judgment piece, when we do that, we can start making ourselves wrong. And then we go down this other path that is not helpful. Okay. And again, I used to do that all the time, so I know all about it. So that's my 5-step emotional freedom formula. And what I want to do is, if you're resonating with what I've shared here today and you're curious about going deeper, I want to share with you a few different ways that you can get my support at this time. So I want to start out with, if you're in the camp where you know that you have that repetitive pattern that I was talking about, where you know that there intuitively, that there is a deeper, maybe trapped trauma in your body, like maybe you grew up like me again, either, had trauma in your upbringing on some level, or maybe you're part of the Me Too movement like I am. Whatever the case may be, you've done some work, but you also intuitively know that there is some trapped trauma in your body. And because of that, you're experiencing repetitive patterns, whether it be with anxiety, whether it be with, again, needing to numb yourself out with, whatever it is, food, drink, whatever. And I'm not saying, I'm not saying that it's wrong or to judge ourselves for like, once in a while, like watching some Netflix or dragon movies or whatever the case may be. Again, it is really all about intention. Are you doing it to enjoy and, or like also the moderation piece. Are you doing it all the time, right? To avoid feeling your feelings? Are you keeping yourself so busy, right? We can do that. I used to do this too, burying ourselves in work so that we don't have to face the feelings that are lurking within, right? It's all about intention and awareness, okay? And, I'm not against having fun. I'm not against having a glass of wine. I'm not against watching Netflix. I'm not against, soul food or comfort food. It's how are you doing it, right? What's the intention and what's the vibe around it, okay? So that being said, if you are someone who knows that you have, or, intuitively you sense that you have some trapped traumas, and you're someone who's really ready right now, with this new year, right, to make this be your year that you set yourself free from the past, and that you really do that deeper healing work and the energetic clearing, right? And healing, then I have a couple of opportunities for you if you fall in that camp. And one of them is private one-on-one coaching with me. If you're interested in that, the information will be below, but just reach out to me and I'll get you the details. I have a new coaching package right now called Dark Horse Healing, and it's to help you to, again, set yourself free from past trauma and rise to your full potential in all the ways your heart desires, okay? And the dark horse piece that I forgot to mention, by the way, is sort of a deeper dive to the Epona Rises work. That's my foundational work, but as I have continued on my journey, doing the deeper work, like alchemizing the anger and working more with the subconscious. And don't get me wrong, the Epona Rises work is really powerful, but a lot of us, especially women, right, those taboo topics of money and sex and power, and again, if you're part of the Me Too movement or have experienced, trauma in this arena, there's deeper work for us. We even have our lineage, right? And, those layers, if you will, that can still influence us and are important to address. And so, with that being said, either one-on-one work with me, and there's limited space for that. And so again, reach out for the details if you feel called, and we'll just explore if it's a fit. If I have space at the time, depending when you're seeing this, because there is limited space. And then I do have, at the time of this recording, we are January 11th, and the Capricorn new moon. I have enrollment open right now. There's still time to join my Dark Horse Diva Mind 2024. This is a small, intimate group, mastermind type experience. I mean, it's part mastermind, part magic, part medicine of the horse. It's really, a very unique container. I intentionally have created it to be small so that no one falls through the cracks and everyone gets my personalized attention and support. And there's a 3-month or 6-month option. And so there's that option that is like a small group intimate experience to do this work, where I'll be, again, offering personalized support and giving you all the tools and tricks and tips and my secrets. You also get free access to my Epona Rises program, which is over $1,000 value when you join the Diva Minds. So you have access to that for as long as you are in the container. And so really, really powerful, and so excited about that. But it takes things, like I said, even deeper, and also brings in, because I'm always evolving, the Epona Rises program. The 5-week program initially came through in 2 years ago, so 2022. The summer of. And so, since then, I am not the same person. I've been, evolving and upgrading and up-leveling and all the things for myself in a lot of different ways. And so the Dark Horse Diva Mind builds on that foundation, but then we go even deeper. We go into these pieces of, learning how to alchemize your anger and really ride the rage when, if that applies to you, right, I'll be essentially tuning into the group needs. So it's not, nothing is set in stone, but these are the type of things that we will be doing depending on what is really I tune into needed for the group, right? But I find that really when we talk about diving into some of these past traumas and these taboo topics, again, around money and sex and power, the anger and the rage and the shame and the blame and the pain around these past traumas really needs to be addressed and alchemized, right? And so that's the kind of work we'll be doing inside of the Dark Horse Diva Mind. And I do want to say it is a very safe space. One of the other most common feedbacks I've gotten over the years from clients is how safe they feel with me. So I just want to assure you that it would be a very safe space and container. Okay, so that's one way, or one for those of you who perhaps feel like you are, that there's that deeper work that needs to be done and you're ready to do it, right? Like, if you're not ready, you're not ready. That's cool too. Then for those of you who are simply at a place where you want to empower yourself in terms of just managing your energy, implementing, for example, this 5-step emotional freedom formula, having the tools, the practices to help you really navigate a lot of just life and these changing times, right? In again, a group, a community, but this one is not as much personalized support. There'll be live calls once a month where we connect, but I'll also be sharing with you my top practices and resources to help you essentially raise your vibes. And the other pieces, as I shared earlier, because I'm an activator and a frequency queen, right? The intention is with this container is once you get into this high vibe vortex, right? We'll also be working with the dragon vibes a lot, right? So I almost wanted to call it Dragon Divas, but it's actually called I Fly. And we'll be working with the medicine of the horse, the dragon vibes, the sun, the moon, the stars, all the things, right? As guided, but the intention is to continually give you the support, the immersion into my high vibe vortex, and all the activations and processes to keep your vibration high. Okay, and the tools, again, there are times that you may need to cry or do whatever, right, with life, but to learn how to swiftly shift and raise your vibes, in a way that feels right for you. There's no race, and it's not about like, a competition or anything like that. But as someone who used to do a lot of downward spiral and go down the rabbit hole and hang out there for weeks and months at a time, we don't want to do that either. And so this way you have the support and the accountability and the resources to help immerse you for a full year in the vibration piece, which again is one of my superpowers. And I also want to say, not only is this offering a more accessible option, although it is a year-long experience, there are many women over the years who simply received or experienced a transmission or an activation from me, whether it was on a call or a training, or even in some cases like one-on-one, but they were still receiving that transmission and amazingly experienced profound healing and shifts in their lives. And so, again, depending on where you're at and which vibe feels more expansive and aligned for you, those are the different ways that you can potentially get my support at this time to go deeper and rise, right? Sometimes we do need to, that's that divine duality. Sometimes we have to slow down to speed up. Sometimes we need to, dive a little deeper to rise. Sometimes we need to look back to move forward, right? So there's that divine duality piece. And so that's for the Dark Horse Diva option, that is part of the vibe there. And again, the I Fly immersion is really all about raising your vibes and getting access to a lot of the tools and practices that I use personally and have shared with my clients for a full year, and having that support. So what else do I have for you? Yeah, so that's pretty much what I wanted to share. I also would be remiss if I didn't let you know in terms of where we are right now with this Capricorn new moon. I wanted to do something a little special to celebrate the new moon and the new year, right? And all the things, right? And so right now, for the next 48 hours, I have two special bonuses that I just want to let you know about. So if you're interested in the Dark Horse Diva Mind, when you enroll in the next 48 hours, so at the time of recording, today's the 11th, so by the end of the 13th of January, you would get a full hour Bliss Block Blaster session with me where we would work one-on-one, and I would lovingly laser in and help you do that energetic surgery, acupuncture, clearing work that I mentioned earlier, right? And so the value of that session is $555, and that is a free bonus when you enroll in Dark Horse Diva Mind in the next 48 hours. And then for the I Fly immersion, when you do enroll in the next 48 hours, you would get a 30-minute bliss block blaster. Say that 3 times fast session with me. And so that is still really valuable. That's a $333 value. And you can do a lot, or I can do a lot. We can do a lot in that time. Again, because I've been doing this for so long, the way that I work is getting faster and better. And so, it just all depends again where someone's at on the journey, but you can still experience some powerful shifts with that. And I've had people reflect that back to me as well. So just want to let you know about those special new moon bonuses. And if you have absolutely any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me. Again, everything will be in the box. If you're getting this in an email, if you're on my email list, obviously you can reply to me. And by the way, if you want to be the first to know about specials and also get a hold, like be in the sacred loop, so to speak, I want to let you know about a couple of free gifts I have for you just for stopping by. And the first one is my sacred seat gift. This one is a very, very one of my most favorite practices. I actually go back to it myself periodically, and it was literally recorded while I was riding my beloved Indigo. And the intention of that is to really help you ground, connect with, your pelvic bowl and your hips, and just help you connect with your body and get anchored and centered. Also to awaken your erotic innocence, connect with that sacred sexual energy as well. It's a really special process. And so that is free. It is part of my Epona's Gold playlist, which is a bonus of 14 tracks that is included in the iFly program. But you can get a taste, if you like, of the type of transmissions that I do, and that is a free gift if you would like. And I also have a playlist of 5 high vibe timeless, trailblazing tracks to help you raise and shift your vibration. These are ones that over the years I've put together in a list. There's one called Blissmas Alchemy to really help you shift and alchemize any type of energy, maybe the Christmas blues or the post-holiday blues, or whatever the case may be. There's the Eye in the Storm. There's a really beautiful ancestors mantra where I do some chanting along with a meditation activation with you. There's my Sacred Sexy Reset button where, again, this one in like 3 or 5 minutes, you can really shift and set your energy. And again, really, and protect your energy as well. And there's one more in there. And I'm forgetting what it is at the moment. Let's see. Blissmas, Eye of the Storm, the mantra, ancestors mantras, Sacred Sexy Reset, and hang on. I am blanking. It is now it's gonna bother me. Okay. Let me get into my SoundCloud. It's all there. It's all on SoundCloud, and these are all free. When you join my email list, you can get access to that for free. Let's see if I can find it. Why am I not finding it? Oh my. Okay. Okay, here we go. Trailblazing. So ancestors, Eye of the Storm. Oh, and I never know how to say this. Samhain or Samhain blessing. So that one is, during the Halloween season, it was recorded to help you connect with like your ancestors or those who have passed on, loved ones really who have passed over, because the veils are really thin. So those are 5 really beautiful, timeless tracks that you can get absolutely for free when you join my email list. And the Sacred Sexy one, it's separate because it's just a little bit different vibe on that one with the sacred sexual energy on that. So, but both of them would add you to my list, and then you'd get to stay in the loop, and free trainings or events or whatever, you'd be the first to know. And I'd love you to have you join the herd. So yeah, I think that's all I have for today. I love you. Thank you so much for stopping by. And thank you if you received value from tuning into this. Thank you for liking, sharing the loves, subscribing, all the things. I can't do it without you, and you're the reason I do what I do. So happy Capricorn new moon.